Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Saturday morning Best Bet show here with the three-man weave. I am your host on this fine January morning, Jim Root, joined by Kai McEwen with his spinny hat on, Matthew Cox, dad duty, no spinny hat. Hat's at the office, folks. It's fine. He's home, he's working, he's grinding. We're going to talk through as many games as possible today. There are 150, 149 if we're being exact. That's a lot. That is more than any other sport. That's why we love it. All these opportunities for betting. Kai's my chat czar. Matt's going to come in with take after take. Maybe we'll get Gemma debuting on the screen today. That would be exciting. Matthew, any takeaways for you from last night, from the week? Anything you want to get to before we hop into today?
Um, Actually, no. Big slate. Let's just get right into it, guys. I've no, I didn't bet anything last night. I bet very little on Thursday.
Oh, you bet Dayton last night.
I did. I guess you're right. I did bet Dayton.
Uh,
You're right. I bullied you into that. I forgot about that.
you
That
did,
was a good
and
bet.
thankfully they didn't fuck it up at the end. But yeah,
Okay, fine.
Ooh, Kai's the
VCU.
explicit one today.
yeah,
VCU. Yeah, relax. Gemma's right here, by the way. She's listening. She has my other AirPod in.
this stays here.
But VCU, nice ball club. They remind me, they, like the way they can fork teams. Uh, it like very power conference caliber. Just their defense is swallowing up teams. We'll see if it continues throughout the A10. I'm very impressed with that team. Very, very impressed. Jim was right about them. I was wrong. I guess I didn't think they'd be as like categorically more dominant than than other teams. Although say Bonnie's, I guess, did compete with them for a little bit. So I probably should, contextualize how that game played out. But still impressive.
Hey, go Rams. Purdue, big spot, absolutely destroyed Michigan. Way to go, Boilers. They're not losing two in a row at Mackey. The narrative rides. It rides another day. Also, UCLA, Tyler Bilodeau went down early, and they still pulled it out at Washington. Folks, have you noticed Ade Mata, his performances lately? Had 20 against Wisconsin, was big again last night against Washington. He's finally emerging, the 7-3 alien Spanish man for the Bruins. Okay, let's get into today. That's what Matt wants. That's what he gets. Starting off with the big one in the Big 12, Houston headed to Kansas. Nobody tell Calvin Sampson that the Cougars are favored on the road at Fog Allen. We know he won't like that. Only a slight favorite, -1.5. Total's been ticking down, now down to 126.5. Some 126 out there. Kai, Emmanuel Sharp is in and available. KJ Adams
Ooh,
is out and unclear what his status will be going forward. Bill Self estimating February 1st against Baylor. So another week of recovery for him from the shoulder. What do you think here, Houston on the road?
yeah. Samson was he thought it was nuts last year when Houston was favored over Kansas, and they lost by 13. He was absolutely right. They're favored again. Hooray! So Sharp is huge. His status was in the air obviously for a couple days. Great to hear he's in. That's big for Houston. It should be a great game either way. Even with Adams out, I just think it's going to be really hard, Matthew, for Kansas to score the basketball. This team cannot shoot. Sub 30% in the Big 12 from three. They're 16th in three-point attempt rate in the Big 12, so not even looking to shoot. And they don't get to the foul line at all. At all. And that's bad news against Houston, a team that usually gives up points at the free throw line. I think Houston was fine without Sharp, frankly, in this game. The talent around him is pretty underrated, and they will be their usual selves in the glass. They lead the Big 12 in offensive rebounding rate and turnover rate. That's how you consistently win games and blow teams out. I lean Houston, Matthew. Of course, would prefer them as a dog. Alas, still lean their way at like 1.5.
Jim, I lean Kansas, but I actually kind of like the over more. This game got bet down to 126. Like we said the same things last year coming into this game. Like, oh, how is each team going to score against one another? And then it finished to 143, and Kansas shot 72% inside the arc. Now, again, that was a lot of crazy shots, like tough shots, and Javier Francis got hurt early in that game, and clearly he's an absolute like beast up front, critical to that defense. But I do think the over is actually a pretty good play here. I think Houston's defense is elite. So is KU's defense, but they've also been sort of cramping some not so elite offenses. I think just the execution both ways here actually bodes well for both offenses as against the grain as that might sound. So that's my kind of like close your eyes. This is a close your eyes over. It's like one of the least fun overs you'll bet on the board today.
Isn't KU like a crazy under team this year? Ooh,
They've been
ATS.
slamming the
Yeah.
unders. Yep.
Yeah, I believe it is now 16-2 to the under.
They had like a
If I
14
recall.
game streak where it's just under. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep, 14 in a row. TCU game on Wednesday snuck under after high scoring first half. The
Yeah.
big thing last year when Kansas tore them apart was KJ Adams short roll. Like Houston traps ball screen. Uh-oh, what do we do? KJ Adams short roll. He had 7 assists last year. big time passing. You take that out of the lineup. I love Badunga, but that's not his game. I don't think you want to bring Adam or Dickinson all the way away from the bucket. You want him around the basket finishing. Kansas can't really shoot threes. It's going to be tough to get to the rim against this Houston defense. I think Houston gets it done on the road. The kind of re-announcement game of, hey, remember us? Remember the team that's number 1 in Bart Torvik, number 3 in Ken Pom, that is like a 4 or 5 seed right now because they don't quite have the quality wins. Well, here we go. Here's a big one at Fog Allen. I think Houston gets it done. Adams' absence is really big. Not quite a best bet for me, but I did bet it. All right, next up. Ole Miss at Mizzou. Kai, are Tigers in the top half of the outline? Is that even possible? Here we are.
This year, baby.
That's right. Mizzou's been great since the turn of the new year, been awesome in SEC play. They're now laying 3.5 at home. 143.5 is your total. Chris Beard and Adams defense definitely depressing that. But Kai, there's some injury question marks or maybe some illness question marks on the Ole Miss side. Does that tilt things towards our Tigers?
Yeah, was it Matthew Morrell and Dre Davis? Were those the 2 guys that were mentioned in Rothstein's tweet? Yes?
Morrell and
Yes,
Davis.
that's who I had written down.
Yeah, that sounds like illness to me, not to speculate too much. Of course, I have no idea. Oh, that's huge. And Mizzou's taking money. It's up to 3.5. Perhaps somebody kind of knew the questions before that. I think Mizzou has a path here. I think they live the line. Chris Beard's teams are famous for their propensity to foul. This team's no different. The Tigers are number 2 in the country in free throw attempt rate. And Beard's pack line, it kind of sets up well for a Mizzou team that really wants to bomb away, especially in front of their home crowd. Now, that could backfire if Mizzou falls in love with the 3 and stops attacking the basket. Their bread and butter has been getting to the free throw line. I'm not sure Mark Mitchell is a good matchup for Ole Miss. I think he really can take advantage of a 5-man, for instance, and I think he can guard Malik Dia on the other end. And Matt, Ole Miss, opponents are shooting 24% from 3 against them in the SEC. That has to change. And I think it might with Mizzou here. I think Mizzou has plenty of versatile forwards, plenty of athleticism to go toe-to-toe strength-wise with this team. I lean Mizzou here, 3.5.
I kind of do too. I think the Morrell was a back thing. Davis, I don't know. I'm not going to. Yeah, I think it's his real. You're right. I think if there was illness red flags, I'd be looking to pounce on Mizzou. Ole Miss has not been great against zone or defenses this year. I know the data is always kind of dicey with that. You got to contextualize who they played when they played them. But especially if Matty Morrell is out, like that's just a pretty big. I know like he's not like a sharpshooter, but he is one of the shooters they could use. I'm curious how Sean Padula will be as the trigger man here. He's been really good this season. Like I think defensively is where he took a much bigger leap. And we'll see how much Gates uses that zone today. I think he's going to be like a zone killer if Mizzou lets him get free on it. So I think you kind of have to have like a zone cheat where it's a partial man, partial zone coverage to make sure you can't let him get loose. Obviously, Jalen Murray can get hot as well, Jim. I think it's a stay away for me. I'm just like, wow, really? Mizzou -3 against Ole Miss, a team I think's like been just really, really good all season, but Mizzou has too when you kind of take a step back and look at the results. So I stayed away. Just to, I guess, a moment of like, wow, Mizzou, nice year so far for me.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I can't quite get there on the number. I would not lay 3.5 that over the possession. That spooks me. Ole Miss is coming off 2 losses. It's not like you're going to get a complacent road performance here. You should get a highly incentivized, motivated type of Ole Miss team. Mizzou off a loss too. Both of them had terrible final 4 minutes offensive stretches in their last game. So definitely think they're going to get a little bit more locked in. But I have nothing on this game. I think Anthony Robinson probably puts Padula in a little bit of a hell of a cell, Kai, with his defensive work. But the big thing for me is Mizzou's propensity to get to the line, and Kai already covered that. So keep an eye on that. Next up on the outline here, Kentucky at Vandy, staying in the SEC. Matt, I was a little surprised at how short this is. Kentucky only laying 2. Vandy hasn't really stood up to top shelf competition, save for the in-state rivalry game with Tennessee when they got Ziegler in foul trouble in the first half and then ended up hanging on down the stretch in the second half. This feels a little men versus Boise to me. I think Kentucky can win the inside. I mean, Vandy's playing 6'7", 6'7" on the front line in the SEC. Yeah. That concerns me. But Kentucky's defense lets everybody stay in the game. Going to be probably a good live betting game. How do you feel about that, man?
Yeah, I agree. I think crazy runs will be in this game. Just a fascinating coaching prep. 2 very intricate styles. First time they're squaring off, I believe, this season, right? So I think it's just the fact that Pope has an extra couple days to prepare. They haven't played since last Saturday, coming off that loss at home to Alabama. I do kind of lean toward Kentucky, Jim. but some 3-point regression mojo in favor of the Doors relative to the Blue Kittens, Kai. So I don't know, conflicting factors here. High scoring game. The total, ready for this? 166. It's been bet down 169. Kentucky
I don't
overs
think it was ever 169.
over 168.5. I think
No.
168. Well, I'm looking here. Okay,
I don't
my
think
screen
it
says
was.
168. Are you sure?
Yeah, I've
Kai has
seen.
been hawking total openers very
I
closely,
bet this
so I
over.
will
I
trust
bet
Kai.
this over. It was a horrible line at FanDuel. It opened 166.5 most places that I saw.
Okay, at FanDuel's it did. Okay,
No,
well,
no,
I think
FanDuel
the
opened
true open
162.5. It was a horrible line. I pounced on it.
162.5. Well,
Yes.
congrats to your winner
It was
there.
a bad
I like
line.
the over. Anyway,
Yes.
I like the over.
Anyways, I think it was 166.5 most places. I agree though, Matt. I like the over as well. Both teams, hey, fun. Off losses to Alabama. How often does that happen? Both teams allowed over 100 points in that game. I think both teams run in this game. No issue playing up tempo. I do think Vandy trying to run with Kentucky is a bad idea. You saw them try to run with Alabama. They struggled. They lost with 16 points in that game. Jim mentioned the size issue. Kentucky's size could really hurt them. I think McLaughlin's awesome. He's probably Vandy's best player. And you can throw Garrison, Williams, and Carr out there on offense, all 7-footers. It's going to be a tough matchup. While Vandy's due for shooting regression on defense, Kentucky's not the team to start that trend. Jim mentioned the Kentucky's defense being so bad. I think there's points to path to points for Vanderbilt. They're going to kill Kentucky's drop coverage. Jason Edwards is going to kill Kentucky in pick and rolls. Definitely lean towards the over here.
Yep, I see points. I think Kentucky scores more of them. If I had to bet this game, it would be Kentucky -2, followed by the over, but not one that I'm investing in. I do have 4 best bets. This is not one, but we will get to those. Now we go to the Big East, where UConn is sort of reeling right now. The games without Liam McNeely have not been sharp. They've been better with him on the floor, both offensively and defensively. It's staggering if you look at CBB analytics. He's like in the 98th percentile in net rating. Some of that is because he's been missing tougher competition, but even if you adjust for it with Hoop Explorer, Matt, UConn about 10 points better per 100 with McNeely out there. He shouldn't be back for this game. Xavier almost got him in stores. Do the Muskies get it done here against UConn? Xavier laying 1.5 now, total of 142.
I do kind of lean Xavier. I think it's a low scoring game, actually. UConn's been, their offense has been, I know, better than their defense from an efficiency basis, but they've gotten caught in some slogs. And, I think Xavier, with, with some of the successful efforts they've had, Kai, as they've played better with Fremantle back, they've looked grittier. I think better when they've been grittier. Like the Marquette game comes to mind. I know Marquette won that, Xavier won that game. They almost blew it late, but still, like they really, like, I think, imposed their physicality against Marquette. Now, different matchup here with UConn, but I still think just the style of the new Xavier, the improving Xavier, I think plays to an ugly type game. I think that actually will work in their favor. But Jim mentioned there, I think the McNeely and Caravan thing, that's what's key here, right? Like, until I see those guys both in there for at least a game, I'm just not going to touch UConn, because that's the UConn I know and I can trust. But I don't want to fade UConn like eagerly either, I guess. So I stay away.
This is a very, very rare UConn game, maybe the only one I've ever seen, where all the bets that everybody that I know is on Xavier. I have not seen one person say they like UConn in this game. It's a little worrisome to me. The Muskies are playing a lot better. I get it. I understand. They took care of business against Nova. They won at Marquette. They took St. John's to OT on the road. And UConn lost to Villanova. They survived Georgetown. They lost to Creighton. They should have lost to Butler. McNeely, they really need him. These two teams played before. Game 1, overtime win for UConn. McNeely was there. No Fremantle in that game. Xavier was like 13 for 24 from deep. But UConn smashed them on the glass. Again, no Fremantle. They won the turnover battle. They scored 1.32 points per possession. I've watched Xavier. I've watched their defense. It's horrible. This UConn offense still kind of hums, and X is certainly still a matador on that end. On the other end, I can see Xavier scoring. The home floor juice is real. Ryan Conwell is a gamer. They should get to the line a ton. They have a ton of shooters. I do lean towards Xavier. I'm just saying it's a little bit strange, Jim, that I'm seeing no one on UConn except for, hey, Ryan in the chat. Okay, good. One person on UConn.
Nice.
Lean Xavier for me. No play at all for me. That one.
Kai, Dan Hurley's just paying people to give more bulletin board material.
Camera loves him, baby.
Rally around that with his team in the locker room. Nobody believes in us, the 2-time reigning national champions. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. I like that under angle, Matt. UConn's playing very slow in league play, like incredibly slow. And Xavier's actually slowed down a little bit too. I think there might be something to that. Of course, you're worried about efficiency. Everybody makes threes against UConn. That's what Xavier did the first time around. Like Kai said, these two teams have definitely gotten drastically different three-point defense fortune in league play. Xavier number 1 in the league, under 30% allowing from deep. UConn allowing 38% from deep, despite taking away the three-point arc. So maybe some fortunes regress more towards UConn here. It's enough for me to stay away on a side. I do like that under though, Matt. I kind of buy that angle. All right, we get to our first section of Chat Mob here. Before we get into the questions, make sure you're signed up for the Burner Discord, where we are hanging out every single day. Trilly Donovan is in there with his scoops, all kinds of great information in there. There's casual chatter if you don't even want to talk ball. You just want to hang out with some folks that are like-minded individuals, but you can also break down betting. You can get some intel on the coaching carousel, transfer portal, potential entrants could be coming later in the year. Lots of great intel in there. Only $6 a month. Definitely worth your investment. Highly, highly encourage that. Okay, Kai, my czar, what kind of questions we got?
Well, we're going to the WCC first for a Bram twofer, and I'm going to the Beaver Whisperer to kick us off here. Santa Clara is at Oregon State. The Beavers are -3. Matthew, what are the Beavers whispering in your ear?
No whispers, just loud screams of don't bet us today because Santa Clara is really good. I love both these teams, by the way. So I just want to make sure we clarify. I should buy a Santa Clara banner for my background. I actually like the mojo, the momentum more of Clara here. I think their matchup bodes well. They got good size. Can they attack the zone stuff of Oregon State, Jim? That's the key. I actually kind of like the over too. I think both these teams can score.
And just keep an eye on Parsafala for Oregon State. Missed last game.
Who I
with concussion.
believe, yes, he was supposed to play last game, and I guess he was really woozy beforehand. Again, so I think bonus is he is out.
Yeah, that was only 48 hours ago. So, yeah.
Did not pass the test. Yeah, so kind of concerning. It was sort of like when you have concussion setbacks, it's never a good sign, and he's going to be critical to that huge Clara front line on the glass.
All right, Jim, how about the juggernaut that is St. Mary's? -6 on the road at Washington State. Thoughts?
Lock it in. Best bet. Gales -6. I'm gonna ride the train here. I know they played like the easiest schedule in the conference so far, but they smashed San Francisco as the competition started to maybe stiffen. Washington State's a little short-handed. I don't think you can just pick on mismatch with St. Mary's defense. That's kind of what Wazoo wants to do. Just hunt that. I don't see that going overly well, and St. Mary's is just such a well-oiled machine right now. So -6, the Gales is one of my 4 best bets, Kai.
I actually Lawan Watts is expected back today. I think all the more reason to fade Washington State, right? The first game back angle, right, where it sort of doesn't actually work in your favor. But pretty big piece back for the Wazoo today. But St. Mary's, like, look at their games, just completely shattering spreads lately.
You mean Isaiah Watts? Lawan Watts.
Isaiah Watts, sorry. Yep. Isaiah Watts, brother of Lawan Watts.
Matthew,
not related?
Aren't you also an owl whisperer? Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State.
Oh, the other Owls
at UTEP.
Sure.
UTEP laying 4.5 at home against Kennesaw State.
I sent this in the Discord yesterday. I cannot believe Kennesaw State's like overall profile of grittiness. Like, it's not just like young, fun shot making dudes. Like, they actually have some real guys up front. They're young still, but they playing like an older, grittier team, which is good. However, Simeon Cottle, my boy Kai, got hurt last game. So there's question marks all around the CUSA. Every CUSA game has an injury question mark on one or both sides and multiple guys. And UTEP, I think Camper got hurt last game. I think he's out today as well. So just a big fat like red flag, all of these matchups, just to note. Go ahead.
Cottle returned from his injury last game.
He did return, right? Okay, yeah.
Jim, Ivy League, Columbia laying 4.5 at Penn. I tell you what, I think Penn's really bad. And I think Columbia's pretty good. Simple handicap, I lean Columbia.
That's kind of what it is for me too, Kai. Maybe Penn trends up a little more in league play, but God, they were a disaster in the non-conference. And Columbia is still that veteran team that is looking to make the Ivy tournament after some disappointing years with the same core. I like Columbia as well.
A very interesting one, CUSA, Matthew. I feel like you're kind of a CUSA guy.
I am.
So I'm going back to you. Middle Tennessee, +3, +3.5 at Louisiana Tech. I have a hard time figuring out what La Tech is. I think Middle Tennessee is pretty darn good, but I think this line's pretty fair. Your thoughts?
I think I'd like La Tech here. The spot feels right. Not a crazy travel here, by the way, in this Thursday-Saturday swing. They got healthy last game, got Al Green back, a pretty key shooter. They slowed down Jeffers, but I like Louisiana Tech. And Middle Tennessee's been really good, by the way. It feels like I worry about getting in front of this freight train that is the Blue Raiders, but I think La Tech plays like the preseason team you probably expected today in this home spot.
Agreed. Okay, from a couple other people, we'll give the credit to Ryan here. West Virginia at Kansas State. The Octagon of Doom has taken money up from pick. It's -2 now, Kansas State. Some people, Jim, surprised Kansas State was favored in this game. What are your thoughts?
I am. I am one of
Oh,
them.
wow.
I don't fully understand it. You look at every analytical ranking, analytical projection, it's got West Virginia favored. I think the wrong team's favorite, Kai. I don't trust Kansas State. I think they kind of gave a home run effort at Baylor and aren't going to really be fully dialed in here the same way they were there with that second half collapse. West Virginia off the home loss, very big disappointment against Arizona State. I think you get a much better Javon Small game here if he's guarded by Housen or Doug McDaniel. He was a nightmare against Arizona State. I think much better Javon Small game. I think West Virginia wins, Kai, though, with +2. That works.
Oh, alrighty. I'll take the Riverside Bakersfield question here from JC. How about Riverside, by the way? 2 straight wins against the best teams in the conference at home. Yes, theoretically a great spot to fade them. I took Riverside pick against Bakersfield, guys.
Good for you. Colin Smith got hurt again last game, just for a note. But
I wrote in my notes, Kai, I was like, I'm not fading them. I won't do it. Even the spot demands it. But
I love this team. I'm sorry. Matthew from Matthew, New Mexico and UNLV. Oh, sorry. Yep, that's the right one. I
better get Matthew's question. That's a proper alignment by you. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. I took UNLV and I took him 4.5. I think it's come down. I'm a little surprised. I thought New Mexico. The perception was they were much better. But what are your thoughts?
Torn. UNLV, I never can figure out. I know that the Lobos have had trouble winning in this venue, and it's an early start, kind of a weird sort of like earlier. I feel like these early starts in the Mountain West have been pretty good for the home team. UNLV, we know, can play very well. Their good's very good. Just is the good going to show up? I think is the question. And can Deaton Thomas, who was awesome last year at the pit, handle the pressure? I think he can. Good point guards help against New Mexico's pressure.
From Nick, boy, a MEAC battle. Howard at Norfolk. Sheesh, this game is high. 11.5 points. Howard on the road here. Jim, I don't want to fade Norfolk. I've had Howard overrated all year. Do you have an opinion on this game?
it feels like a lot, but we should note that Howard is now 0-2 in the last week against non-D1 competition.
Okay.
They lost to Bowie State and Morehouse.
Okay.
They've got some issues right now. I think they've been resting guys a little bit, but Norfolk is more of a juggernaut. This is one where it feels high, but it should be high. I'd lean towards the Spartans.
Matt, the point shavers of Eastern Michigan are suddenly good.
Oh, I bet them today, baby.
I
took them.
They're laying 5.5 against Buffalo. You like them against Buffalo?
Yeah,
Hi,
Buffalo. They're
I'm
way more
Buffalo.
talented, and now that they actually care and they're trying to win because, well, they don't want to get arrested, I guess. I mean, I think someone mentioned this. Like, look at the whole Temple thing last year. Like, whoa, we're good all of a sudden because we aren't trying to lose, and we've kind of rope-a-doped our value in the market. And again, they were playing better. So I did take Eastern Michigan, which feels dumb to maybe bet on a team that could be point shaving, but alas, here we are.
They know their people are watching. Now they're gonna be good now. A couple more here before we go back to the outline. Jim, I wanted to fade Miami. I really did. But this line got it past 10. I can't lay 10 plus with California, even with Miami's travel. I mean, SMU closed 5 at Miami. Why is California laying 10? I know Miami sucks, but what are your thoughts?
We haven't found the bottom on Miami
Yeah, I
yet,
guess
Kai.
not.
I think you can lay it. And the travel isn't bad. They just played at Stanford.
That's
so
true.
they've been hanging in the Bay Area. But no Blackman last game. Nigel Pack's been out. Like, they are bottom of the barrel. I just don't think there's any effort on the defensive end from them. So I've been liking the Cal team total over, basically fading Miami's defense team total over in every game. I also think they're just going to keep losing by 25.
And baby Stojakovic, I think, could come back today.
Yep.
He's back, I believe. Yes.
And I don't know. I think he matters, but who matters these days? I think he does matter.
I think he
Like,
matters.
Matson acts
Nothing
like he's their
matters
best
against
defender.
Miami just
That's
sucks.
true. It's a great, better point.
Steven, thank you for the donation in the chat. That's wonderful. Really appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Steve-O.
Let's do two more big ones here on the list and then go back to the outline. So Georgia and Florida. Oh, man. I've been fading Georgia a lot this year, Matthew. I really have. It's been about 500. They are 11.5 point dogs at Florida, a team I like to bet. I did not bet this game. I think it's pretty high, to be frank.
Yeah, Mike White, sort of revenge spot back to his old employer stomping ground. I don't know if that actually matters. I don't fade. I don't like fading SEC road teams, 29-16 home teams against the spread so far this year. Now, again, it's a big number, but Florida's covered a ton of big numbers this season. So I don't know. Another one where it's like one team's really old, one team's not that old. I feel like I'd like the older team at home. Kind of worries me about a young team on the road here.
I wrote that one for action. I think Florida's covered 6 in a row at home. So
Okay.
After
There
Mizzou?
you go.
Oh, you mean Georgia against Georgia?
no. Yeah, besides the Mizzou game.
Yeah.
That must be what it is. Yeah.
Okay, last one, guys. A lot of people are asking about it. It's also one of my best bets. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm taking Providence pick against Georgetown as a best bet. I think the environment is ridiculously hyped. I understand Wesley Cardette might be out still. Ryan Mella also likely questionable for Providence. I still think they can get it done against Georgetown. So Providence, pick a best bet for me.
Fun fact, I believe Sorber is number 1 in the country in net rating.
He's
like
awesome.
plus 45
awesome.
when he plays. Georgetown is like good team, and when he sits, they are last year again. Like holy god, bad.
DePaul shredded them without Sorber. It was like this team sucks without Sorber, and then Sorber comes back. It's like, oh, everything makes sense now. Yeah,
Sorber's
Yeah,
back,
the dunk.
but I think the
Get it done,
dunk, the
dunk.
amp can get it done. Yes. Okay, let's go back to the outline. I got more questions holstered. Don't worry. Jim, back to you.
We return to the outline for the number 1 team in the country, Auburn hosting Tennessee. Line definitely telling you Janai Broome is unlikely to play. Certainly not going to be his full strength if he does. Auburn laying 6 in the jungle. Matt, you just mentioned the home team stats for the SEC. I am not inclined to fade Auburn at the jungle. They've got plenty of weapons still. Jaheim Hudson stepped up as the big man off the bench last game. But taking away Broome does kind of affect the depth and the weaponry with this team. I'm sitting this one out. I kind of think it's close in my gut, but again, not fading Auburn at the jungle.
I'm going to take Auburn here. I saw Jordan Majeski just mentioned there's some norovirus concerns, illness concerns with Tennessee, which always piques my interest. And I'll go back to my home court ATS SEC record, 29-16. Auburn's margins of defeat at home this season. Kind of beat your Missouri Tigers by 16.
They did.
Game was like 20 for most of the game. Mizzou's pretty good. Beat Mississippi State by 22. Mississippi State's pretty good. They beat Georgia State by 1,000,000. They beat Monmouth by 1,000,000. Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought they had one more home game. Like, they've only had 2 home games in conference. They've won both handily. I think they do so today against Tennessee.
Yeah. Heck, 2 of the best teams in college basketball. How much is Broome worth, guys? About 3 to 4 points says the market, I think, each game. I think that makes sense. But Auburn,
Yeah, about 3 feels like.
Auburn 2-0 straight up without him. 1-1 ATS without him. But that Georgia game could have easily been a cover. They were up by 15 points in that game. It was kind of a late cover by Georgia there. Auburn at home, you guys mentioned already. They're scary. I know Tennessee's legit. Now, Tennessee, maybe Broome's absence finally is felt in this game with the way Tennessee rebounds. The best offensive rebounding team in the SEC. Auburn still wasn't a great defensive rebounding team, even with Broome in there. Even worse without him. I think Tennessee could win the shot attempt battle if they can handle the ball. But outside scoring is going to be, scoring inside against Auburn is still going to be tough. And Auburn takes away the 3 extremely well. It's a very tough matchup offensively for Tennessee outside of the glass. And on offense, Jim, I still think Baker Mazzara, as much as I don't like his personality, is an awesome player. Jones, Johnson, Pettiford, all capable. I lean Auburn as well.
Yeah, lights out Miles Kelly. Suddenly like
Miles
an
Kelly,
absolute
Yeah.
sniper for that team. He does not miss. Yeah, it's scary. When the ball gets rolling down the hill at Auburn Arena, it doesn't really stop. I'm not sure Tennessee can. Remember what they did at Florida? Oof, that was an egg they laid. Okay, staying in the SEC, weird to say, Texas A&M and Texas. Second matchup between these two already. Kai, I think everything Texas A&M did in the first game is sustainable again here. Dominated the glass, shot almost 70% inside the arc. They shot 10% from deep, and they won by 20. Like, they didn't make any shots, and they still blew out Texas. I see this, the Texas is laying 1. I kind of like A&M here, the way they've been playing. Maybe an emotional letdown after that big comeback last game, but I just the winning the extras type stuff against a team that lives in the mid range. I'm all about the Aggies here.
Yeah, I'm getting too cute with my number here, Jim, because I agree. I really like Texas A&M. I'm still not a believer in Texas. I don't think they're bad, but they're just kind of a meh team. The Mizzou game was closer than 8 points. It was the worst offensive effort of the season for Mizzou. A&M's just a lot better. Wade Taylor's back. They're the best offensive rebounding team in the country. They're the 6th best defense in the country. I think they suffocate Texas on that end. I expect them to live the line. I expect them to eat on the glass. Texas's ball handling, especially without Kendall Weaver, I assume he's still out, is still a concern. Good luck to Trey Johnson and Arthur Kaluma trying to go one-on-one against this physical, athletic group of defenders. Yeah, I lean towards Texas A&M. That's probably an ad for me at some point today.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with both of you. I look at Texas. I mean, again, at home they've been decent. Like it's been kind of smoke and mirrors good, but they have been good, and I think part of that is the fact that they're riding a freshman hot hand Trey Johnson, who I think probably just feels a little more comfortable at home. And they're getting a little bit of courtesy minutes from Jason Kent, just an adult in the room on a team that I don't think has many of those, many sharp basketball minds, whether it's on the court or on the sidelines. So just a few a couple nuggets why I'm sort of they should. I think he was hurt, so I think they're trying to ease him back in maybe. I don't know. And then Weaver is supposed to come back soon as well. Just another note there. I think he does matter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was out still or not in this game.
Yeah. Matt, do you know what Texas ranks in rim and three rate nationally?
Low. Trey Johnson didn't shoot many of either. I guess he shoots a bunch of pull-up threes, but
Jordan Pope lives in the mid-range. Arthur Kalula,
yeah,
it's
right.
like 350th, 346th, I think it was.
Okay, well, there you go.
Texas A&M super compact defensively. They make you go.
And they're not rebounding that well this year. Like if you're gonna take mid-rangers, you got to be able to get to the glass, and Texas hasn't really done that either. So.
Yep, in the first game, it was a big Texas A&M win in the glass, 41-31, 11 offensive rebounds. I don't see why that doesn't happen again here. So yeah, still lean A&M even on the road. That kind of style travels A&M. I'm not as worried about them on the road. All right, Michigan State and Rutgers. Kai from Madison Square Garden, a neutral site battle here.
Yeah.
Rutgers has taken a little bit of money down to 5.5. Michigan State laying 5.5.
Ooh, didn't go back up.
Total of last I saw was 5.5.
Oh, I think it went back
to
Dylan
Harper. Is there Dylan Harper news?
Dylan Harper it's up news to
there.
8,
7.5,
8 right now, Jim. I think
that's got to be why, because the Rothstein Dylan Harper news.
Well, Dylan Harper
that is rather important. He is huge. Emmanuel Bole is out for the season for Rutgers. Probably doesn't really matter. They don't have other big men, but he wasn't very good anyways. Total 149.5. I'm guessing that's ticked down. I got to check my board without Dylan Harper. Kai, any thoughts on this neutral site battle in New York?
Yeah, still seeing 149.5 in the total, but yeah, Jim, 8, 7.5. Kimpom has the home game. I wonder if he's giving full home on his projection. I wonder.
Think it would if it says home.
I wonder if books are as well. I don't think it is. Now, there's been a lot of like chatter about how bad Michigan State's actually been in Madison Square Garden. I don't know if that's like a sustainable thing across years. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But Rutgers, they're turning resumes on life support, and if they don't have Dylan Harper in this game, yeah, it's obviously a huge problem. If they do have him, their hope, Matt, is Asen Harper be talented. I still don't think it's going to work. Sparty's a freight train. They're just a really good team. They're solid at everything outside of outside shooting, and even then, they're getting better at that in league play. They're way more experienced. They're way more poised. Rutgers playing 4 freshmen could be exposed on defense. They don't really create havoc. They don't defend the glass. It's not a typical Peichel team. And Izzo, of course, great coach. Sparty, number 1 in the Big Ten in defense. It's hard to see them losing. Boy, 8 though. Harper in. I would lean towards Rutgers at that spread, Matthew. But without him, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I really like Rutgers with him in, but if he's questionable, I just feels that they've been such a different team without him. And again, we talked about how Rutgers at home, it doesn't have that same enticing betting spot juice to it because their identity is not like as gritty and defensive and interior focus that it has been, which I think is what's kind of played well for them in these types of spots. And so to play the style they're playing this year with a dicey Harper, I just want no part of that. I do think the line is very high, but I also respect Michigan State too much to get in front of it.
Not at home, Matthew. Notably not at home. Madison Square
at the Garden. So even worse. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Yeah, and a valid point from Joey in the chat that they play like Duke and Kentucky at Madison Square Garden. That does impact things a little bit. I would lean towards the under if Harper's out. You're going to get a ton of Bailey bad shot chucking if he doesn't play. That's basically like Bailey might score 30, but he might take 29 shots to get there. So I'm surprised that hasn't ticked down at the same time as the spread has ticked up. All right, last one on the outline in the Big 12. Cincinnati at BYU. Cincinnati circling the drain. Matthias 1-6 against the spread in league play, not covering by an average of 7 points a game. They've been really bad basically everywhere. They won at BYU to open Big 12 play last year. Kind of a forgotten result.
Yeah, that's right.
So the veterans for BYU, your Dallin Halls, your Richie Saunders, probably remember that. Would think they want to exact a bit of revenge. And I just don't trust Cincinnati at all right now. I don't know if I want to lay a touchdown, but I also don't really know how Cincinnati scores. The offense has been terrible. Matt, tell me why I shouldn't bet the Cougars.
I just think Cincinnati can be a kind of a cockroach type of team here that's going to be tough to really extend against. Now, I know that Aziz Bandaogo got hurt last game. I think he's fine for this, but I thought that was just a note I had on my notepad here. I don't think it's serious. Just to if someone wants to alert us to what this, I think he's good though. But just he's obviously enormous. So like if he was out, I would be betting BYU because I think without him they lose that rim protection. And yeah, what else they have to fall back on? Like their offense? No, their offense is a disaster. So very easy stay away from me here, Jim. Kind of like the over at some point. I feel like both these teams are going to start scoring points at some point, but I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to catch a falling night in that regard as well.
Bryce Hopkins not warming up, fellas. That's a problem for Providence.
I mean, he hasn't played in like 2 months.
I thought he was
he's
back.
Been out for a while.
Oh,
I think.
All right, screw it. Don't need him.
They don't. Yeah, Kim's got a bunch of guys that he's throwing out.
Oh,
there.
Cardette is out there warming up too. So whatever. Don't care.
Yeah,
your bet's on the dunk.
on
Your bet's on the
December
dunk.
10th.
Doesn't matter who's playing.
Don't care.
Don't worry about it.
Back to Cincy BYU. Yeah. Cincy already failed its back against the wall test against Texas Tech. That sucks. Their atrocious offense has been atrocious. I don't understand. It's 132nd in the country. It's dead last in the Big 12. It's odd because most of their team this year was there last year. It was much better on this end. It was like top 80. It wasn't great, but it was a lot better. BYU, though, man, they're not a world beater. They've beaten nobody. Their best win's ASU at home. Of course, the home court advantage is big at BYU, but I expect Cincy a little bit of a bounce back here. I just think they're too talented. They're as talented as BYU. You could say Demon's the most talented player on the floor, sure. I think the Cats get plenty of looks against the BYU defense that allows a ton of threes, kind of packs it in. On the other end, Cincinnati and Wes Miller are known for defending the arc. They have a top 10 defense, I think, that travels. I think 7's too many. 7, Cincy.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, the Dylan Mitchell adding him into the lineup, playing him at the 4 instead of Seamus, I feel like is part of the offensive knockdown from last year. But he's an elite defensive player, so like you're kind of having a trade-off there. I'll stay away. I'm glad you guys talked me off laying it with BYU. It's too many points. I can't get there, even with that revenge angle from last year. Okay, we go into Chat Mob Part 2. Mr. McEwen, my czar. I'll kick it over to you.
All right, Jim, let's do it. Timestamp, yes. Okay, from Bram again. Missouri Valley battle. I'll go to Matthew Cox here, St. Louis boy. Indiana State hosting Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa's taking money. I'm seeing up to 4 in a lot of places, 3.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I like you and I here. I think they absolutely pound the Sycamores up front. I know they're really only bad performance in Valley plays. I mean, this has kind of been a topsy-turvy league, but the only bad performance from Northern Iowa was without Jacob Hudson. I think he's back, and I think they use that kind of piece inside to poke on an Indiana State defense that's been, I mean, lit up against good offense. I'm not saying they're going to put 120 like Bradley did, but I would be worried if you're back in Indiana State, they're going to stop them at any length there.
I took the over in that game. I like the over.
I like
Jim, Pittsburgh laying 8 at Syracuse. Pitt, if you're going to make the tournament, man, you got to cover. Syracuse, are you dead? Jim, thoughts?
This is a trash pile of a game.
Yes, it is.
Pitt has lost 4 in a row, including some really good spots that they just weren't able to take advantage of. Of course, they can never beat Brad Brownell. He's inevitable against Jeff Capel, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I certainly think Pitt should have a home run effort here against a team that doesn't play all that much defense, doesn't give all that much defensive effort. It's a weird get-right road spot. I lean towards Pitt. I also think there should be fireworks, a lot of points there, Kai.
Yeah, let's stick in the SEC, or ACC, Jesus. Matthew, SMU took money up to 3, laying it on the road against NC State, a team that's been very bad. Your thoughts?
Oh, wait, sorry. Would you repeat it again?
SMU, NC State, SMU's laying 3 on the road.
Yeah, I took NC State because I like betting on a coach that's going to get shoved to the side this summer. So I think Hadley Hartfield coming back last game is big. I think he able to control the glass against SMU, but we'll see. We'll see if they actually can handle the ball. What, Jim? You don't think Bradley?
You think Keats?
Hadley Hartfield was a funny twist of his
Hadley
name.
Hartfield,
I just like that.
Huntley Hardley Hatfield.
Yeah, good. I like that.
Do you think Keats gets fired? I don't want to get on track.
He got like a
I
huge
guess
extension
probably
at Final
last
Four.
Yeah, I'd probably not. But
whatever.
I like the over
I
there.
think he's done a poor job this year.
Yeah.
I think that team is not that good. So I'm sort of like, that's a close my eyes bet for
he's
sure. But I did
same
take
thing
NC
as
State.
every year. Arizona State, Iowa State's been talked about a ton in the chat. 10 points, Arizona State in Tempe / Scottsdale area, whatever you want to call it. Jim, thoughts?
I would probably go first half if you want to fade Iowa State. I feel like they've kind of worn teams down with their like waves of offensive talent. They did it to Utah. They did it last time out against UCF, just like smash teams in the second half. So I'm not super inclined to do it, but this is the first trip west for them in the Big 12. Maybe there's something to that. Arizona State may be feeling fat and happy though off a big win against West Virginia. They're coming all the way back across the country. Yeah, it's mostly a stay away, Kai, except for maybe a slight angle in the first half.
Matthew.
Sandin back today, I think, per
Sandin's
release.
back, supposed to be.
Yes,
Yeah,
apparently he
yeah.
is back. Furman at Mercer, Matthew SoCon. Furman off an outright loss to VMI. Wow, Mercer also playing
VMI's good.
much better than I expected. Ryan Ritter, heck of a coach there. Furman's laying 2 on the road. Thoughts?
I like Furman here. I hate that. I just think that I think sometimes you keep betting on the team you expect to play well, and you do realize they're maybe not as good as you thought. Furman could be in that camp. I think this is a good matchup, a better matchup. You're not playing a funky VMI zone. You're playing kind of off that tough loss. You got to get this one. I think they win. 2, yeah, I'll lay it with 2. I'll lay it with Furman.
Jim, you've been a queen all season. Yas, Queens +1 at home against Jacksonville. Thoughts?
Can you give me that one more time, Kai?
Yas.
There we go. Perfect. Good. Yeah, Queen's
love
actually
that.
off a bad effort here, but I like them in a bounce back. Home dog against Jacksonville. I don't know. Queens seem to find something in league play, despite they've lost a game or two recently, but they've been playing a lot better, and I liked them from the start of the year. So I think I'm going to ride the trend back up there.
Kenny Woo Woo, Marist at Canisius. Matthew, tell you what, I've been pretty good betting the MAC this season, which is really strange. That
Knock
usually
on wood, please.
that's usually a really horrible league for me.
Who do you like
I
here?
did not bet this game. Canisius is a 9-point dog at home against Marist. Your thoughts?
I like Canisius here. They have been bad, but better in conference play under Jimmy Christian. And I cannot believe my guy John Dune is sitting here at 14-3 with their only loss in the last 2 months to Ryder at home. So yeah, this league is a who the hell knows. When I see spreads get too big away from 0, I'm like, does that justified? I like Canisius.
Oh, Kai, I can't wait to see the market react to this. Bruce Pearl on game day says Janai Broom will warm up against Tennessee.
No, don't play. It's gonna ruin my Auburn bet because he's gonna suck and take minutes from the other guys who are shooting like
I'd
fireballs
love for them
right
to take
now.
money and I'll hop in Tennessee. If it gets such
When
like,
asked if he will play, Pearl
You bet the
responded, "I think
norovirus
so."
team? No, you don't want to bet that.
do they have norovirus?
Okay.
Did we talk about that? I didn't know that.
Gainey's got flu-like symptoms
Yeah, I mean-
for Tennessee.
Okay, never mind. No,
I don't
stay
know.
away.
We're just
Stay-
speculating.
You don't need it,
Majeski,
Kai. There's
yeah.
149 games. This game was on the outline. We changed it at the last second. I changed it. Sorry. Baylor at Utah. Bears laying 2 against a tough home court. Jeremy Roach status in the air. Jim, I laid 2 with Baylor.
Okay, I like it. I mean, the way the performance he got from VJ Edgecombe last game from Baylor is very encouraging. Looked like a lottery pick again, 30 points. That's what you need out of them. Baylor's depth is really being tested with no Love and Roach also dealing with concussion symptoms. Utah feels like they can't play up. They can blow out bad competition, but when they go to Iowa State, they lose by 23. When they go to Houston, they lose by 34. I mean, they were outclassed all game by Houston. It was ugly. Texas Tech came to town, beat them by 28. So yeah, Kai, I think against good competition, that's where you want to fade Mr. Craig Smith and the Utes. So I would lean Baylor too.
This is almost the best bet for me at Utah. I guess I'll not do that. I think your point stands, Jim, but Baylor's not like Houston athletic or Iowa State athletic. I think Utah actually matches up pretty well here at home. So good spot with the walking wounded Baylor situation.
Yeah, they're down to 5 or 6 guys. I have not been impressed by Baylor this year. And I was impressed with Baylor without Roach. Okay, Matthew. Now I'm not going to Matthew on this one, Matthew. Sorry, but it is
Why?
from Matthew because I don't think you have an opinion on this game. It's a Big South game. Chuck South
No, I don't.
and
I don't,
UNC
sorry.
Asheville.
Big South's tough.
I took Chuck South +3 against Asheville. Chuck South team is a team that should have been a lot better this year. They've been playing a lot better in Big South, getting healthier. Yeah, I took them +3. A little scared. Asheville's good too, but that's the way I bet. Okay, Jim, SoCon, Chattanooga, East Tennessee State. I think Chad has taken a little money, +4 now at East Tennessee State. Brooks Savage, ETSU's coach, had a plea on social media for fans to
I
come
saw
out,
went viral.
pack the arena. He said, I don't know why basically we don't have any fans. I don't love that. I leaned to Chattanooga here. I didn't play anything. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a little surprising. It's typically like a really good fan base, well-covered team in Johnson City. Like it's actually like a big deal for them, the college basketball team. Chattanooga, I'm worried is going to be a little deflated after home loss against Samford, where they had a real chance to get tied atop the league standings. Had they won that game, have everybody with 2 losses. So going on the road to ETSU, I actually lean towards the Bucks against the market there.
Okay. Matt, Southern Utah, Cal Baptist. Well, I'll go back to Jim. He's always on the Cal Baptist. Cal Bap laying 5 at Southern Utah.
It's line silly. I can't get
Market
there.
got
I
it.
made
Yeah,
it
market
like
hammered Cal
Cal
Bap.
Baptist minus 2.5. So I'm not going to tell you to lay 5. I'm also not going to take the 5 because I don't love backing Southern Utah. They're kind of a whack-a-mole team for me that I can't really figure out. And they've had injuries. Dominique Ford missed last game for Southern Utah, key piece. So Kai, it is a stay away for me.
All right. Let's go rapid fire on a few. Like we have a lot of questions left.
Okay.
Matt,
Yep.
Brown, Dartmouth +5 at Brown.
What can Brown do for me? They can cover for you. They're going to cover for me today. Brown laid it -5.
Laid it. Okay. All right. Matt, how about Troy? -4 against South Alabama.
I haven't played it. Jim, all hockey passes to Jim. Jim had better takes on this. He illuminated why this is a good spot to back Troy, and I totally glossed over it in my handicapping fury last night. I think I'm going to add Troy, though, late.
Attaboy. Troy -4, best bet. These teams just played last week. So you've seen this complex, goofy, odd South Alabama zone. And Troy like lit it up in the second half, put up 40 plus. They were down 20 at halftime and almost came back and won on the road. Now you flip them back home. I don't love laying 4. I'd prefer 3. You'd like to have it be one possession, but I think the spot is just home run for the Trojans. So Troy -4, second best bet.
Jim, what about American hosting Colgate? Colgate -1.5 on the road and looking like their usual dominant selves in the Patriot League.
I'm going to keep brushing my teeth, Kai. I'm going to keep brushing my teeth. Colgate's still a little undervalued by the market with Cox and Woodward back. Woodward's been a monster in that league. Nobody can really stop him. Rogers is a pretty good big man for American too, but it's Colgate.
Matthew, Mississippi State -7.5 at South Carolina. Got word Murray Boyles is questionable, assuming that's why Mississippi State took some money. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I bet South Carolina again. The SEC homes have been good, and South Carolina, I know we all declared them dead, but like they've had some pretty game efforts in big spots in SEC play. So again, that style, which was so good last year, I think still has some fighting power, even though they're not as talented this year.
Are you
I think
worried
Jamari
about
Thomas is back too.
CMB? Are you worried about CMB?
Murray Boyles is
No, I think
playing.
he's confirmed.
Oh, he's playing.
He's confirmed back in after the stupid injury report, and they might get Jamari Thomas back. Who I don't care about all that
I'm
much.
surprised
frankly,
the
but
line hasn't come back a little bit. Okay, maybe it will. Elon -4, Jim, hosting Charleston. Ooh, seems a little high.
Really surprising line. I wanted to bet Elon, but I don't want to lay over a possession. Charleston's kind of been bad the last like 5-6 games. Elon's healthier with both Simpkins brothers in there, and Van Komen takes away the rim. It's going to be a fun matchup with Sherry and Berjevich up front. But this was a number X for me. I wanted Elon, couldn't quite get there.
Matt, Nevada -3, hosting San Diego State.
Pass. I don't. This is the all time spot to bet the pack, but I'm not doing it. I need to be like close to a pick, and I know San Diego State's been far from invincible themselves, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna be kicking myself by halftime when Nevada's up 12 or something.
Okay,
Alas.
Matt, VMI, you backing them? 7.5.
I did. Yep.
UNC Greensboro.
Big number. I know that they're healthy. Greensboro is. You could argue Greensboro is categorically more talented, but VMI's just been smoke and mirrors with that zone, man. It's tough, and their offense looks good. And my boy AJ Clark, who I was like, this guy's awesome, who barely played in the non-con. He's like healthy, and they're letting him loose like a football player. He's good. I like VMI. Andrew Wilson will be hired somewhere next summer.
Jim, question in the chat on Cal Poly Long Beach over, but does Cal Poly also cover and get their first Big West win? Long Beach is actually taking a little bit of money, down to 6.5 total, 152, 152.5, 153.
Yeah, I tried laying it with Poly against UC Davis, and they haven't won a Big West game in 2 years. They -4. They lost outright. I don't think Long Beach is very good, so I still lean towards Poly here, but I'm not gonna lay the touchdown with the team that hasn't won that long. I do like the over though, Kai. Poly just makes games so frenetic. The fastest possession length in the country.
All right, a few more fellas before best bets. Utah Valley, Matt, at Seattle, +4, Utah Valley on the road.
I like Seattle, kind of. I think they actually have size up front to combat Utah Valley's size, which has been the dominant factor in this league. So lean Seattle -4. Kind of a big price to pay, though.
Seattle's got that shitty travel coming back from Arlington on Thursday. That's the one part that worried me.
With Valley going to, yeah, you're right.
Jim, the Billikens, -1/pick on the road at George Washington, a surprising A10 team. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, pick it circa. So I'm going to take St. Louis best bet pick
Okay.
rather than -1.
Right.
Third best bet. I just think they're trending up. George Washington isn't the team that's going to punish a lack of depth. So I think that sets up okay for SLU. The Bills just need to win on the road. Pick them.
Matt, UCF -4 against TCU, a visiting TCU team off a pretty good effort. Thoughts?
I like TCU here.
Okay.
UCF laying points. I kind of like TCU. I know they folded against Kansas. I think they play well here on the road. I like TCU.
Notre Dame, Virginia. Matthew, go back to you. Virginia +2 now.
Nah.
Notre Dame's taking money. Nothing there.
No, pass. Lean Notre Dame, I guess, but pass.
All right, two more. Minnesota hosting Oregon. I took the Gophers. I took the Gophers. I think they cover here. Go Gophers at the barn. Oregon, tough travel. Yeah, Minnesota. Jim's on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Minnesota's been rolling. That's what I said.
Finally, Jim, two teams I'm done getting involved in, Montana and Montana State. Montana's taking money. I say good luck to you out there who have taken the Grizz. Total lame team. They're 3.5 now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm clueless on both these teams. I think they're better than they have shown stubbornly, and now I don't know which one's going to actually trend up in this game. So if forced, I would probably just take the points because I think it's a coin flip, but not one I want to get involved with either, Kai.
Alrighty, Jim, back to you. Let's do best bets.
Best bets. Okay, I have given out 3 already. SLU -1. Actually, SLU pick was what it was when I gave it out, so SLU pick 'em. St. Mary's -6. Troy -4. And then a total. Duke and Wake. I'm going to take the under. 135.5 is what it was. Let's double check right now. Yeah, 135.5 across the board. There's actually some 136, but I'll take the 135.5. I don't really know how Wake scores against this Duke defense, even with Malik Brown out. And I think Wake kind of keeps it slow, keeps it half court. They don't have a lot of depth. Duke can be a little bit sleepy on the road, especially offensively. So under 135.5 is my fourth best bet there. Matthew.
I got 2. Conference USA, as I mentioned earlier. Kai, New Mexico State -4, -4.5 split. I got both. I don't know what we're going to officially log it as, but I think they get a bounce back against Jacksonville State in the second leg of that. That I know there's no travel for Jacksonville State coming from UTEP, New Mexico State, UTEP very close. Still think home is worth a pretty good chunk there, a pretty big home crowd. Who had this team going? 2 tough losses, they'll be fine today. Big win, and then second play. Oh yeah, Little Rock against Lindenwood. Little Rock versus Lindenwood. I don't care that's at Lindenwood. Like Little Rock's way better than Lindenwood. Come on, -2. I'm laying it with Little Rock.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think I had that one as well, man. I just realized to myself, I don't think I actually bet that.
Like Lindenwood's better this year, but like it's Lindenwood. Like Little Rock has dudes that played at Arkansas. It just feels like it's a D1 versus like a JUCO type
I
talent
think I
situation.
forgot to come back to that one.
We'll see.
Good. All right, I support you.
And they got Jordan Jefferson back last game. Yeah, Little Rock, Tiny Rock, as we call it.
My best bets. I said Providence pick. Yes, I am aware Hopkins is not playing. That was an embarrassing moment for me on the show. I'm going to keep riding with Nebraska Omaha. It's a gut play -4 at Oral Roberts. I think Oral Roberts is just dead. Horrible. This Omaha team, they're good. I mean, Chris Crutchfield has impressed the heck out of me, so I think they're going to wax Oral Roberts. And I'm also taking, fellas, a little bit of a weird one. I'm taking Stephen F. Austin -3. Kyle Keller just fired.
Oh,
They get a little boost, little oomph here. Tony Jacek era begins. Former Jacksonville coach, I think. Tony Jacek.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
SFA -3 against Northwestern State. Those are my 3-pack plays. That's it, Jim.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. See Jordan Durkak not playing for Rutgers. Boy. Whew. Michigan State might blow them the heck out, but obviously the number's already been eaten up there. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the day of hoops. All kinds of games today. Don't bet everything. Just bet the ones you like. Spinny Hat. We'll be back with our podcast on Thursday. Well, maybe. We have a TBD schedule with a bachelor party this week. So we'll keep you all posted until then.